Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming out for this short lecture on what's that behind me? Spy drone. I took that photo myself. Unfortunately, you can't see the price tag on it, but I actually got this in Goodwill. Yeah, I found a spy drone in Goodwill. What does that have to do with national security? The fact that I'm very cheap, I buy everything in Goodwill, that's definitely true. Even this kind of yuppie-esque, fruit fusion thermos or whatever it is, bottle, I got in Goodwill. It came with the fruit too. It's excellent. But anyways, besides being very, very cheap, why should I buy things new when I get the massive surplus of used items, sometimes not used at all in Goodwill? What's the point of that with national security? That's incredibly important for national security. The fact that you're able to find this spy drone in Goodwill is absolutely important for anyone who studies U.S. foreign policy or national security. Years ago, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years ago, this little spy drone would be, the avant-garde. They use spy drones for such a broad range of things, from Pakistan, Afghanistan, to the United States. And I'm not just talking about killing people. I'm also talking about bringing things to people in flood areas, just looking over, like it recently did, I believe, in California and Oregon, and the destructions of wildfires. They're very, very important. But the fact that you can find something like that in Goodwill, why is that important for national security or U.S. foreign policy or any country's security? Is that technology trickles down. Years ago, nobody had a cell phone. When I say years ago, I'm a little older probably than most of my students, not much older, old enough to be a bigger brother. And you don't remember before there were cell phones, the ubiquity of cell phones that just took off. Before, that was just like for the military, same with computers, same with all these things. So why is this important? Because if this technology is trickling down, that means more and more people have access to this technology. If you can find spy drones in a Goodwill, 30, 40 years ago, that would be unthinkable. This is very, very important because a lot of knowledge, a lot of material to make dirty bombs. It's not a nuclear bomb, but a dirty bomb that can explode and send out radioactive material is very, very dangerous. And this technology, not just dirty bombs, but just a broad array of things, anthrax, biological bombs, etc., are able to get in the hands of just a wide group of people. And we're not just talking about terrorist group, we're talking about rogue actors. What happened in Boston, they called it the Boston Marathon, just a pressure cooker that was able to commit a terrorist act. As knowledge and material trickles down, this is an incredible issue in U.S. foreign policy and national security. So people are able to get not just weapons. I mean, this is very contentious. We've seen since Columbine the explosion of people getting access to weapons, different groups from the KKK to more fundamentalist terrorist groups getting access to weaponry, hate groups, etc. This is very, very important and a huge issue for the FBI, CIA, whatever, most of the FBI who does internal things here in the United States, but also national security for a wide range of groups. If you're Kurds, you're a non-state actor, but if you're, Turkey or the United States, you're a state actor. Whoever your side you're on in a conflict, this is very, very important. Nowadays, you can go to Boston, Massachusetts, and do the duck walk. That's basically an amphibious tour where you get into this little boat thing. It drives around and then it goes into the water. A lot of fun, etc. Because I'm from Massachusetts, park the car. My accent is kind of a fun thing, but people don't think this is incredible. This is what they use. I mean, not this very thing, but for D-Day, these amphibious landings, etc. So this, as technology trickles down, I want you to start thinking about, what technology that used to be, in the avant-garde, it used to be only for the quote unquote elite or government officials or something, now is usable to a wide range of people. We think of the good about it, cell phones and computers, but to address national security issues, we have to address these important issues in order to create more safety. Like when you see, and I talk about it a lot in my classes, the Tokyo, I think it was like a long time ago before you were born, 1994, I want to say, the Tokyo sarin gas attack by a group of Japanese terrorists in Tokyo. They used this sarin. I mean, this is before not as accessible to groups. So we have to start, what do we do? And I want you to start thinking about policies on this. Do we basically, have a secret society, watching over people? We can't do that in the United States, as we saw with the Patriot Act and other things. We're a very constitutional society. So what do societies do to monitor the spread of materials? I mean, if anyone can walk into, well, not anyone, I mean, only someone who goes there all the time and always looks for good deals, can walk into a Goodwill and find the spy drone. What else can people find, especially later on, things that, were not accessible before. So what I want you to start thinking about is, what do we do to stop such material? Now, we can't stop spy drones, but we do have regulation on them. But the thing is now you can go to the dark web and find a wide range, not that I do, if anyone's watching this in the FBI, material to try to make your own dirty bombs. In fact, according to Graham Allison in his book, very famous book I used to use, now the name's slipping my mind, Nuclear Terrorism, sorry. He writes about how when we did go into Afghanistan, that the Taliban were trying to make an Islamic bomb, and were looking for certain material to have nuclear capacity. What that capacity would be, they always say energy, but we want it for more than that, especially when we have a lot of enemies, depending on the group you're in, like Iran wanting to be a nuclear country. What do we have the ability to stop it? I mean, is this knowledge and are the materials, although the centrifugal process is still very difficult, not that I'm a physicist, but as people get more knowledgeable in this field, material gets to be less scarce and more in abundance, how do we stop this? And I want you to thinking this at every level, because should Iran have nuclear capability, if you've had me before in this class, you see Mearsheimer talking about it would actually be stabler in the Middle East if Iran had nuclear capability. A lot of people disagree with that. India now, Pakistan, so many countries have nuclear capability. Is it, like this spy drone behind me, finding it in Goodwill, is this something that's going to be inevitable and something we can't stop? And I want you to start thinking about real policies to address this issue. And it doesn't just have to be nuclear, like I just said, dirty bombs, sarin attack in the Tokyo subway, etc. You have a lot of cult movements, hate groups, etc. What happens if they get their hands on this? The pressure cooker bombing in Boston, by the two Chechens. This, and I think there were a couple others involved. This is very, very, important for national security, and I think we need policies to address this. The Nunn-Lugar Act, right after the Cold War, endeavored to do two things. One, employ scientists from the former Soviet Union, that is after the Cold War ended, when the Soviet Union fell. They wanted to hire scientists so they didn't get hired by other countries like North Korea and among other countries that aren't friendly with the United States. so that they would work in the United States or just make sure they didn't sell the material. And two, they wanted to secure all of the nuclear facilities in the Ukraine, just a wide range of areas, because it would be very lucrative to sell that material and the knowledge. So I want you to start thinking about these things, real policies to address these issues. And that will be one of the, not assignments, but, discussion board to really talk about how do we address this issue of the trickling down of technology, which is good on the one hand, cell phone computers, but negative on the other. And don't worry, I am not spying on you with my spy drone. I can barely even operate it because I'm not that tech savvy with the drones. So without further ado, if you have any questions, if you have any issues, please email me or leave something, a good comment in the community forum. Take care, everyone, and I hope everyone's staying safe under these unprecedented conditions that continue with COVID-19. Take care.